Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Hegfreeze here. Today I am bringing you 5 fresh and really cool entitled parent stories. Keywords include Dungeons and Dragons, football game, Nintendo, immature kid and deadly car. Just sit back, relax and enjoy the stories. Entitled parent cuts off my friendship with her sons over playground game. I recently thought about this story that happened to me when I was a kid in 4th grade. Now that I think about it, it's kind of an entitled parent story, because the parent of the tale obviously felt entitled to treat me like I was a vermin. Here's the cast. Me, nerdy elementary schooler. F1, my extremely close friend who was also a nerd like me. F2, my other friend who was a bystander to the incident. F3, F1's twin brother, also a friend of mine but not as nerdy. EP, F1 and F3's mom. Mom, my mom. When I was in 4th grade, I was an extremely nerdy kid, like super nerdy. I also had a wild imagination and was into spacey science fiction, Star Wars and Star Trek and things like that. F1 was also into space stuff and he was super creative as well. We were fast friends and soon we had created our own sci-fi universe, with different alien races and spaceships and factions and planets, you get the idea. Every day after lunch, we would both go out to the playground and roleplay in our universe, using the playground equipment as spaceships or distant planet formations. My other friend F2 ended up joining us and also got invested in our world. We would come up with intense plots usually revolving around our arch enemies, the evil galactic mining corporate with their corrupt factions and sinister plans. Our role-playing sessions were usually cheesy and pretty hilarious, but sometimes we got really serious. When this incident happened, we were in a very serious plotline. I don't remember the story exactly, something about infiltrating a secret pirate base, but we were really invested in this one. That day, we were all apprehensive as I described the tense events leading to the climax of the story. I was kinda the dungeon master of our group most of the time. Then, F3 walks up to us. F3 wasn't my best friend, but he was okay in my book. He had recently become interested in our role-playing story as his brother, F1, had been telling him all about it while they ate dinner together each night. F1 was thrilled that F3 was willing to join in after all this time. Meanwhile, I was kind of panicking. I hadn't anticipated a new member coming in, so I decided that I would change the story so that F3 could join in. Unfortunately, I had already kind of set the plot for the story in stone, so I would need to change something a bit further ahead. I told F3 that since we were already really deep into the storyline, I would have to make a new part for him at home and that he would have to wait until recess tomorrow. F3 seemed a bit bummed, but he was okay with waiting if it was that important. After the day ended, we all went home and I came up with a really cool character entrance for him. Now, keep in mind that F3's birthday was coming up in like a week. I had already bought him a present and I was planning to sleep over so we could have a Minecraft survival marathon, basically staying up all night until we beat the Ender Dragon from a blank survival world. So I was hyped for this party, and so were F1, F2 and F3. F2 was also invited. So that night I was about to go to bed, when my mom came in with this weird look on her face. She looked sort of sad, but also angry at the same time. She sat down next to my bed and told me that she had just gotten a call from EP. I was uninvited from F3's birthday party, was not allowed to see F1 or F3 on the playground anymore, and was considered unwelcome at their house. Later I learned that that phone call was not nearly as pretty as my mom had described. EP had phoned up my mom and screeched at her about how I bullied her child and that I was a terrible influence on both of her sons. She had then told mom that your little crap was definitely not coming over to F3's house on Saturday and that if I tried, I would be greeted with a door slammed in my face. Before my mom could even recover or say anything, EP had hung up the phone. Mom asked me what had happened and through my shock I told her that I had told F3 to wait until tomorrow for his part in our roleplay. After listening, my mom was understandably livid. At first, she thought I had done something horrible to merit this kind of reaction, not just put off a role in a game for the next day. I ended up crying myself to sleep that night, as I was really confused and thought I was being punished for doing something wrong. The next day at recess, I talked to F1 and F3. They both looked miserable, as though they had been punched in the gut multiple times. I guess I probably looked the same. F1 told me that he wasn't supposed to talk to me anymore, but that he didn't care. I asked F3 what happened, and he told me that during dinner that night he had told his mom about how I was coming up with a role for him, but that I had told him to wait until tomorrow. EP then stopped the conversation and furiously questioned him about it, barely letting him speak and constructing her own version of the story, until F3 panicked from her aggressiveness and broke into tears. EP must have made the call to my mom right after. My mom continually tried to call EP several times to try and work out the misunderstanding, but EP didn't take any calls and ignored mom completely. We all kept up with our roleplay until one day F1 said that his mom kept getting super mad at him for hanging out with me and that it wasn't going to work out. I would always invite F1 and F3 over for my parties, and every time my invitations and messages were ignored. Unfortunately, there is no happy ending to this one. I now go to a different school and only see F1 and F3 once a year, at F2's birthday parties. F2's mom has intentionally not told EP that I go to F2's parties, as EP would probably lose her mind if she found out. We are nowhere near as close as we were, and every time we talk, F3 says that he regrets opening his mouth at dinner that night. I still regret not giving him a part right away. If only I had known that a day's wait would kill our friendship and end our little universe forever. Entitled kid thinks she owns the world. Entitled mother allows it. Around a month ago, I was hanging out with friends ages 18 to 20 in New York City. We just traveled around the city, grabbing McDonald's, Starbucks, and checking out the Nintendo and Lego stores. In the Nintendo store, I went up the stairs to check out other items while F1 and F2 stayed downstairs. After a while of browsing items, I grab a couple amiibos and go to the checkout line. Bowser, Marth, Kirby, and Link, for anyone wondering. Behind me is this 40-ish-year-old woman with a normal Karen haircut and her small daughter, maybe 9 or 10. After I put my amiibos on the register, EK takes Bowser and Kirby. This is where the fun begins. Me: "Hey, can you give those back? I'm buying them." In a gentle-ish voice. EK: "I want them too." EM: "Just let him have them. You're obviously too old for them." Me: "Actually, I grew up playing these games and would like to have my amiibos that I'm paying for back." EK throws tantrum after I say this, throwing the amiibos down. EM: "Look what you made him do! You are going to hell for this!" Me: "No, I didn't. You obviously raised him to be this bratty kid who doesn't know right from wrong." I pick up the amiibos and pay for them and start walking away. EM: "You get back here right now and pay for his toys!" Me ignores her and leave. 15 minutes later, as my friends and I were leaving, we saw EM being forcefully escorted out of the store, dragging her kid behind her. I haven't seen her since, and my friends and I still joke about it. An entitled parent that won't listen. So this just happened a few weeks ago, like 6 weeks I think. So my mom had just gotten surgery on her arm and could not do anything like drive or even get up from sitting down. Now for the story. I was at home getting my mom some food and a drink because, well, she couldn't really move, and I was about to head upstairs to my mom when someone knocked on the door. I opened it and there was the entitled parent with her child. And so this is how the conversation went. Entitled parent: "Hi, do you think your mom can watch my child for a few hours?" Me: "Sorry, but no thanks, I don't think she can." EP: "Okay, and it will be easy." Me: "Sorry, like I said, she can't because she needs to rest." EP: "So, is that a yes or a no?" Me: "It's a no." EP: "Why?" So I just shut the door and she got mad. By the way, her child was the same age as me, 15, and she couldn't trust her child to stay at home all by herself, like what the hell. Entitled parent almost kills me in the car rider loop. EM: entitled mom, EB entitled B. So this happened a few hours ago and I just had to write this down. School has just ended and I was waiting for my mom to pick me up. I see her and start to walk towards her, and suddenly there is a car in front of me. I get pushed aside by entitled kid who is kinda a bully. Entitled kid hops in and I see him whispering to his mom with a mischievous smile on his face. Then suddenly their car reverses and actually runs over my foot. Then they speed away. Unfortunately, this all happened when nobody was looking and there were no cameras, so I couldn't accuse them of anything, and now I have 2 broken toes. Wild entitled parent encounters. Okay, so basically I live near a high school with a football field and all my encounters were there when I was watching a football game. Cast: me, EM, EK, and D, and F, friend. I was at the stadium with my friend buying a couple of snacks. The EM was in line a few people behind us, so we didn't see her. When we walked by, she started telling us off and trying to guilt trip us into giving her our snacks. The conversation went something like this. Me and F, predicting who will win. EM, hey, can you help a single mother by giving me your snacks? Me, no. EM, well, can't you help a single mother? Pulls out TK from behind her. Please? F, no, that's final. EM, you'll hear from my husband who's a lawyer. Me, aren't you single? EM, yeah, nah. Encounter 2. Me and F were seated right next to the speakers, but with earbuds in so we wouldn't go deaf from the noise. The entitled family sat right in front of them. This conversation went a little bit better. Me, hey, taps Sandy's shoulder. You guys are sitting right in front of the speaker, maybe you should move? Andy, oh, thanks for EM, we aren't moving anywhere, Andy. These kids are lying so they can get a better view. EK, yeah, Dad, this place is epic. I can see everything. Andy, me, is there anywhere I could move? Me, yeah, just sit next to me and use these earplugs. Andy moved and EM and EK probably lost half their hearing after the commentator yelled, "Hello there!" Alright guys, that was everything I had for today. I will be back tomorrow with more fresh stories. Also, don't forget to leave a like if you have enjoyed the video and subscribe. Have a nice day.